For over a century, the United States has been the destination, the place the world's best doctors, engineers, scientists, and entrepreneurs came to build their lives and their careers. The brain-gain nation. That is changing. In 2025, the United States recorded negative net migration. For the first time in 90 years, more people left America than arrived. The last time this happened was 1935, at the height of the Great Depression. 1 in 5 Americans, 20%, told Gallup they want to move abroad permanently. Among women aged 15 to 44, that figure reached 40%, 4 times higher than a decade ago. This is the brain drain map. And in 2025, for the first time in modern history, it runs in both directions. To understand what is happening, we need to first acknowledge what America built. The greatest talent attraction system in human history. Approximately 45% of Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or their children. Immigrants account for 25% of American Nobel Prize winners. In Silicon Valley, over 50% of billion-dollar startups were founded by foreign-born entrepreneurs. Google, Yahoo, eBay, Tesla, all co-founded by immigrants. The primary pipelines feeding this system, India and China, which together account for over 70% of skilled H-1B visa applications annually. Nigeria supplying the highest concentration of doctors per capita of any immigrant group in the USA. The Philippines, the single largest source of foreign-trained nurses in the American healthcare system. This system has been, and to a significant degree, remains America's greatest strategic economic advantage. The ability to take the world's best minds trained at other countries' expense and deploy them inside the American economy. But that pipeline is now showing serious fractures. New international student enrollment at U.S. universities fell 17% in the fall of 2025, the largest single-year decline outside of the COVID pandemic on record. But the most striking development of 2025 is not who stopped coming to America, it is who started leaving. An estimated 2.2 million people left the United States in 2025. Of those, approximately 180,000 were American citizens, the largest outbound migration of U.S. citizens in decades. In 2024, 4,820 Americans formally renounced their citizenship, a 48% increase from the prior year and the third highest annual total ever recorded. Before 2009, fewer than 400 Americans per year made that permanent step. Who is leaving, and where are they going? Americans became the fastest-growing group of foreign job seekers on UK employment platforms in the first quarter of 2025, making up 8.5% of all non-UK applicants. Between March 2024 and March 2025, a record 6,000 US citizens applied for UK citizenship or permanent residency. In Europe, Germany, Spain, Portugal, France, and the Netherlands are issuing record numbers of residency permits to Americans. Portugal's Golden Visa and Digital Nomad Visa programs have seen American applications surge by over 200% since 2022. The motivations are consistent across surveys: cost of living, healthcare access, political stability, and quality of life. The most economically consequential segment of this brain drain is the departure of American scientists and researchers, and this is where the 2025 and 2026 data becomes genuinely alarming. A survey by the scientific journal Nature of 1,600 researchers found that 75% were actively considering leaving the United States for Europe or Canada. The European Research Council, which funds top scientific research, has seen applications from US-based researchers nearly triple in just 2 years, rising from 60 applicants in the 2024 call to 116 in 2025 to 169 in 2026 for early career grants alone. The trigger: the Trump administration's cuts to federal research funding, including the freeze of $2 billion in grants to Harvard University, and significant reductions across NIH, NSF, and CDC research budgets. France launched a formal program called Safe Place for Science, specifically recruiting American researchers displaced by funding cuts. Aix-Marseille University, publicly announced it had welcomed its first cohort of American scientists under the program in June 2025. The scientists describing America in 2025 used language that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. One Oxford oncology professor who relocated from New York told Bloomberg, "Back in the US, the UK is now considered the stable place to do scientific research." What does this mean for the American economy? The answer requires understanding what human capital actually contributes. Research from leading economists consistently shows that high-skilled immigrants are disproportionately responsible for innovation, patent filing, and startup creation. When America restricts or loses access to this talent, innovative activity does not disappear. It relocates. The countries that are positioning themselves to absorb redirected talent will reap outsized economic benefits. The countries that do not will miss the opportunity. And right now, the United States is simultaneously restricting inbound talent through policy and watching outbound talent accelerate for the first time in modern history. The two-directional brain drain of 2025 presents a compounding risk. America is losing the scientists that generate its research advantage. It is losing the international students who would have stayed as engineers. And it is watching its own citizens make a quality-of-life calculation that ends with them choosing a different country. The Brookings Institution documented that the US recorded a 150,000-person population deficit from migration in 2025. Every person in that deficit represents a worker, a taxpayer, a consumer, and a potential innovator who chose or was forced to choose somewhere else. The brain drain map of 2025 tells a story that no previous generation of Americans has ever seen. For the first time in 90 years, more people are leaving the United States than arriving. American scientists are being recruited by European governments. American citizens are renouncing their passports at record rates. And international students, the pipeline that feeds American innovation, for decades enrolled at the sharpest rate of decline in modern history. None of this means America's talent advantage is finished. The United States remains the world's most innovative economy, with the deepest capital markets, the strongest universities, and the most dynamic private sector.